a government which cannot start a program and complete it, a tired government. Who, rather than make contact with substance, preoccupies itself with form, and form expresses itself in cliches. Everything is a cliche. These sexy words used to define a government's program. But, Your Honor, please permit me to come to the Parliamentary Reform Commission report and to share a few observations, as is my right, with the public of Barbados. I will first read the terms of reference within that Parliamentary Reform Commission report. Permit me, Your Honor. Page 9 of the report, terms of reference. The Commission's terms of reference required it to seriously deliberate on a number of matters touching and concerning the Parliament and the Executive, some of which are constitutional in nature. The Commission was empowered to examine, consider, and inquire into Barbados's parliamentary system, process, and procedures. It was charged with making recommendations to strengthen Parliament and its functions. It was also required to make recommendations to enlarge and strengthen Barbados's democracy. Particular emphasis was to be given to making Parliament culturally relevant, inclusive, and modern. Finally, the Commission's reform proposals were to be of a nature that would meet Barbados's new circumstance as a parliamentary republic and promote the good governance of a nation. I read that to bring Your Honor's attention to two phrases of some significance. At line 3, it says that these matters, some of which are constitutional in nature. I will focus on that presently. And after I focus on that, I will focus on the penultimate line, which describes Barbados as a parliamentary republic. Let the public be aware that it is this opposition's position that a debate on parliamentary reform is futile unless you have a larger debate on constitutional reform. And I'm going to say something to this Parliament that I say so often, but I'll say it nevertheless. A constitution is essentially a document which establishes the state. And in establishing the state, it establishes the institutions of state. And those three institutions, broadly and largely, are the Parliament, the Cabinet, and the judiciary. And not only does it establish the state and its institutions, it guarantees fundamental individual rights. And it goes beyond that. A constitution must, as an overarching legal document, it must embrace a political culture. It must embrace an ethos, a cultural ethos. And what do I mean by that? That it would embrace human values which sometimes derive from religious values. And that will be of some importance. And it is of some importance to this country. A country that a few years ago apprehended the fear that this government had intended to remove the question, the reference of God in its constitution, so that this is a country of many religious persons who live in fear that the government had intended to eliminate from its overarching legal document that governs all activity in this country. The people had feared that the reference to God would have disappeared. I come here to discourse constructively, not to engage in personal invective. Let us contained, let ideas contained. And so if the broad position must be that an important institution of state which the government says it is reforming, how can it reform that institution of state, the Parliament, unless it also brings a debate to this House for larger constitutional reform? It is futile. It does not make sense. It does not make sense. And that is not a personal attack on anybody. This is academic. This is intellectual. This is a legal discourse. And it is a legal discourse that is necessary. And it is a legal discourse that is of merit. And it becomes more meritorious when we consider that a few months ago this country was told that a new Republican constitution is not a priority. So where are we? Where are we as a country today? It is not surprising that much of the Honorable Prime Minister's content this morning was about the DLP and her concern for the DLP and all kinds of things. Two big rocks. And the Honorable Prime Minister stands in a glass house attempting to throw them. And I have referred to all of those who suffer at the hands of despotism, nationally and within the party. And they suffer in silence because the only thing that heals the wounds of division within the Barbados Labour Party government is power. And when they did not have the power, they used internal party power to expel Miss Maria Agar, the former representative for Christchurch West.
Point of order, Mr. Madam Deputy Speaker. I only wish to remind the honourable member that the standing orders clearly provide that one is not able to call the name of any private citizen except he first gives notice to and obtains permission from the Speaker of the House. So he's now offending this rule on several occasions.
I'm obliged. The former member of Christchurch West was expelled from the Barbados Labour Party while it was in opposition. While it was in opposition, the former member for Christchurch West was expelled. Was this country told the reason for the expulsion? Was this country told the reason why the honourable member for St. Michael East was removed from the cabinet? Was this country told the reason why the honourable member for St. Lucie was removed from the cabinet? Was this country told why a certain senator was removed from the Senate within recent months after criticizing publicly on the floor of government? The government? We have a quorum. Don't run. Don't run. Keep the quorum intact. Keep the quorum intact. I have a witness statement lodged in the Supreme Court of this country. Lodged in the Supreme Court of this country. And they dare to come in here talking about division and dysfunction and cleavage, when the only thing that heals the wounds of cleavage within this government is the possession of power. That is the only thing that heals the wounds. So don't believe, Prime Minister of this country, that you have the right to speak of these matters with impunity. You don't. So rise on the points of order. I sat quietly and endured it all. And I am not afraid.
Honourable Member.
And back to the
Honourable
to the
Member.
to the Parliamentary Commission report, Your
Honourable
Honor.
Member.
Yes, yes,
The
yes, Your
Honourable
Honor.
Member from St. Joseph was correct
Yes,
in the matter he drew to your attention.
yes.
And for my knowledge, and I'm not so familiar, I am not aware that anybody who gets expelled or suspended or chooses to leave cabinet has anything to do with the management of the affairs. If there's a change in cabinet, there's a change in cabinet. But let us see if we can get back to the
Yes.
matter, order number 8, to do with the reform of the Parliamentary Commission, as is the topic that we are discussing today. I hate
Yes.
to interrupt you, but
Yes.
the way you were going down,
I appreciate
thought
the
that you should-
interruption.
for the
I
public's attention as well, we want to be as correct as possible.
Yes, indeed.
So that members on the outside get to understand.
Yes.
And of course, if you're going to call names, as was indicated by
Yes.
the honourable member for St. Joseph, the alert has to be given to the acting speaker, deputy speaker, in order for you to go through. The permission has to come.
I'm obliged to you, ma'am. Never let them come back in here with big rocks when they're in glass houses. Using power as the only balm against the abuse of that power, to disadvantage your members and consign and condemn them to the peripheries of the party and the government. Are they happy? Are they happy? I will let them answer the question. I have seen it close up. And I saw the witness statement. And I'm not going to embarrass anybody by reading the witness statement and its content. If the public saw it, if the public only saw it, and if the public only saw its content and digested its content, and look, any of them can come to me, because some of them don't know, you know, man. And I will hand it to them and disclose to them what is the anatomy of their government. I'm thinking that they can come in here and cast stones. Cast stones. And this sanctimonious concern for the other side, the other party, oh, it is falling into chaos. And chaos sits at the heart of this government. And as I have said, the only healing balm is the possession of power, which is used to disappoint and appoint and disappoint again. Didn't mean to do this. This was not intended to be the content of my speech, but this is how the learned Prime Minister, the Honourable Prime Minister, began this morning. And when you begin like this, you must stand and answer. And those whom you leave behind must answer as well. Let the public be aware. Let the public be aware and let the baseless statements and accusations fall where they should fall. Let us come, Your Honor, to the terms of reference. As I said, let us come to the Parliamentary Reform Commission report. There's going to be a debate in here later today, and a lot will be said. But let us deal with this one now. I have taken a few of what I call the salient features of this Parliamentary Reform Commission report. I'm going to deal with them selectively. And this is intended not to be any attack on any member of that commission. This is the government's document. And you know, it is very interesting that at one point in listening to the Honourable Prime Minister, I said, but This is the government's document brought here by resolution. And the Honorable Prime Minister takes the time to say that portions of it she does not agree with, but leads the resolution, quarreling with the government's document. You understand what is happening to government in this country, Your Honor? Do we understand what is happening to government in this country? That there's a resolution before this Parliament, which I will now read, led by the Honorable Prime Minister, whereas the Parliamentary Reform Commission was appointed on the 8th day of May 2023 to examine Barbados' parliamentary system and make recommendations for the strengthening of Parliament and the country's system of democracy, and whereas the Commission was empowered through its terms of reference to deliberate on matters touching and concerning the Parliament and the Executive by A, empowering, examining and inquiring into Barbados' parliamentary system, process and procedure, B, making recommendations to enlarge and strengthen Barbados' democracy, C, transforming Parliament into a culturally relevant, inclusive and modern institution, and that the recommended reform proposals would enhance good governance and create a parliamentary architecture befitting the new republic. And whereas, having consulted extensively with the Barbadian public here and abroad, the political parties and civil society presented its report to the President of Barbados on the 27th June 2024 with a wide range of recommendations consistent with its remit. Be it resolved that the Parliament of Barbados take note of the report of the Parliamentary Reform Commission 2024 and its recommendations, and this expresses that it is subject
point
to
of order.
approval.
Madam Deputy Speaker. The Honourable Member continues to plod through this chamber, speaking glibly on matters that he really ought to have a better grasp of. The report is not the government's document. A commission was established under law and sworn in by the President, given the commission by the President, and submitted its report to the President. The chamber is being asked by the Prime Minister through a resolution to take note of that report. It is not like if it was a white paper or a green paper which establishes or seeks to establish government's policy. A paper, a white paper or a green paper would be the government's document. But this is a report of a commission established independently under its own legislation. And it is therefore completely erroneous and a clear and distinct attempt to mislead the chamber and the public by saying that it is the government's document. It is not. It is a report of a commission established in law, and we are obligated to bring it to this chamber for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer.
I appreciate the intervention, and therefore I will continue to say that one drew from the Prime Minister's speech this morning that she is wrestling publicly with portions of the report. It was brought here, but it wasn't brought here by the Clerk of Parliament or the Marshals. It was brought here by the government. And I am saying, I continue to say that the Prime Minister wrestled with portions of the report. That's the point I was making. Be it resolved that the Parliament of Barbados take note of the report and its recommendations. I say it is politically unseemly to accept a report sent to the President, sent to the Cabinet, brought to the House of Assembly by the government, and for the Honourable Prime Minister to wrestle with portions of the report publicly. That I use the term, the phrase, politically unseemly. I did not use the word ingratitude. I did not. I did not accuse the Prime Minister, the Honourable Prime Minister, of ingratitude to those who sat and held several town hall meetings and produced a quality of report that to this day has not been similarly produced by a Constitutional Reform Commission. Where is their report? Because my original submission is that this report should be subsumed within a larger report of the Constitutional Reform Commission, but that report, in terms of its content, leaves much to be desired. But I defy the Honorable Prime Minister of this country to have a report brought to this House and to express these personal opinions here. You don't like the report or you like it. If you did not like it, maybe, just maybe, there was a time and a place to express that view. But it has been brought after much deliberation and hard work by a commission of adults, every one of them. And you seize the opportunity during the course of a debate in which you diverge into matters that are impertinent to the debate, and you disavow portions of it. That is not seemly. It really is not. And I suspect that not everyone would have done that. But this habit of making of yourself the sole and supreme voice of importance, that you elevate yourself above the content of a Parliamentary Reform Commission report and come here today and disavow portions of it, it is not the done thing. It is not the done thing. Let me, though, come to portions of that report which caught the eye. At page 11, Your Honor, paragraph 9, under the rubric, the electoral system, it says, national members of Parliament, nation MPs. Now, I am not going to burden you, Your Honor, by reading it, but basically what this portion of the report is saying is that there will be some MPs called national MPs, and I think the Honorable Prime Minister made reference to it this morning, and others who are called constituency representatives. This hierarchy. The Commission recommends that Barbados introduce a mixed system of representation, that is, one which includes constituency representatives as well as national members of Parliament. The Commission recommends that there should be 10 national members of Parliament. I can only come to the conclusion that a Parliament, by this proposal, and the Prime Minister did not reject it. The Prime Minister did not reject it. That this Parliament must now become divided between MPs who are called constituency MPs and some who are called national MPs. In Britain, you hear about the House of Commons and never misunderstand language. The House of Commons and the House of Lords. That's why we probably still running about down here, claiming to be a republic, but with Westminster values. Because maybe, just maybe, in the minds of some, we are still in the land of the Lords. And the rest are commoners. Well, that is the language of ancient Britain, which survives in Britain today. Are we going forward as a republic, or are we reversing into the depths, the backward depths of Westminster? With a monarchy at its head, with an elitist proposal for parliamentary division, that some must come here to this chamber and be called constituency representatives. Or you going to deal with constituency matters, go and deal with street lights and road repairs and the bus service and the all kinds of services, and there will be others who will be called elevated. Oh, we deal with the nation and a government that 4 years ago proposed republicanism, and I'm going to tell the people of this country shortly what is the essence of republicanism so that they understand what this government is doing to government in this country. And we sit in 2025 and an honorable Prime Minister accepts a proposal to divide a parliament which claims to be a Republican parliament into categories of membership, evoking memories, bad memories of parliamentary elitism, the House of Commons and the House of Lords. And we running around here in 2025 embracing these backward concepts. The essence of a Republican parliament is a parliament that is egalitarian. As among its members, like a cabinet that is egalitarian as among its members, except for primus inter pares, the chairman, the prime minister of that cabinet,